Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net, and I am here to tell you that no, the real estate market is not going to crash. I'm going to tell you why. The real estate market is not going to crash. We are not in a bubble, and no, I don't care about rates. I don't care about inflation. I don't care. I'm going to cover them all. I'm going to cover everything these guys are telling you that is going to destroy the real estate market and why it does not matter. And there are two groups of people that are about to save everybody's butt economically when it comes to real estate. And I'm going to give you a quick story, of a real story of a family member that recently bought a house and why this illustrates what I'm about to tell you. But here's the bottom line. The old people, and I'm 56, I'm in that bracket, but the 65 and up, those folks, 65 and up, and I'll tell you why in a minute, they are helping save this market because they have 80% home ownership, 65 and up. Look it up, guys. 78.6%, about 80% of people 65 and older own a home. And they can't sell it and move because they can't find a smaller home to buy, so they're sticking there. So that's destroying the inventory right now. Now, who else is a part of this? The Millennials. Bigger than the baby boomers, bigger group of people than the baby boomers. And these are people, 81 to 96, I think, is the standard definition of the millennials. This is an extremely high risk tolerant group of people. They are making crazy money now because of the last year and a half of wage increases. I understand there's inflation. I get it. I know that hurts disposable income. I also know that in the past, millennials have spent a very high percentage of their income. That's changing, and they are saving the market. They are, and the people that have homes that are older and that don't want to let them go. Because, guys, it is supply and demand, the end, period. Okay? Let me give you an illustrative story real quick. A family member had to buy a home in Charlotte, North Carolina, already had a home. Needed to get a home that they could use and also move their mother in with them. Top end was $350, but they really didn't want to spend that. There was a house on the market for $350 they really liked. It had been on the market for weeks. They were like, oh God, there's got to be something wrong with this house. Went in, offered $300, and got it. Got it. The seller said, we'll do $300. It appraised at $292. They went back and said, look, I'm sorry, but we're not going to pay the difference on the appraisal. And the seller said, fine, and took it. Now, what happened, right? I know 90% of you guys out there watching this are going, I wish I had gotten that deal. No, it's simple. Over the last year and a half, realtors have been idiots. Okay? I was a real estate agent from 93. I still have a real estate firm. I get it. They've been idiots. They'll take any listing at any price just to see what would happen. Well, it caught up to them. So what's happened is now somebody looking at a $350,000 house that's listed at $350,000, then it's worth $350,000. They're not going to make an offer because they figure they have to offer 10% over ask just to get the property, and they're not going to pay that much more than it's worth. That's what's happening, guys. So the market is self-correcting, and agents are getting smarter, and they're listing it undervalued so that people could still bid up and get it to where the actual value is instead of trying to shoot the moon and go $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 over what the value is just to see what will happen. Okay? Now, this is going to result in the average surplus funds continuing to go through the roof. And I'll get to this in a second. Average surplus funds amount for mortgage and tax overages. The average amount is going to continue to skyrocket, and the net on flipping real estate is going to continue to skyrocket. Even though I agree 100%, appreciation is going to drop. Look, May, we were at 14.6% year over year. So we still saw insane appreciation over that past year. Yes, it's going to settle down to about 5%. But let me tell you what else is going on. So they're telling you, first of all, people can't afford homes, right? They can't afford them. There's higher rates. We've had 2 years of speculation that have driven everything up so high, and there's buyer burnout. Okay, let me address that real quick. One, higher rates. Okay, they're adopting and they're getting ARMs. They're getting adjustable rate mortgages. Last week, the Mortgage Association actually reported an increase after the rate hike hit an increase of mortgage applications because people are freaking out because whenever it jumps up like this, they're like, God, the Fed's going to do it again. It's going to jump up again, right? It's going to jump up again. So what do we need to do? We need to buy now. It's pushing people off the fence. People that would have been the so-called burnout people are jumping off the fence because they realize rates aren't going down. And you know what? 6%, give me a break. That is still a reasonable mortgage amount. Now, yeah, I get it. House prices went up, so did wages. I get inflation went up, but bottom line is housing is still important and rents continue to skyrocket, so it's still an alternative to buy a home versus renting. Okay? Regardless of the 2 years of speculation that have driven this up. And, by the way, costs haven't gone down that much. They've gone down enough where builders are starting to put new inventory on, right? Start building again. But we're talking about dealing with the millennials, okay? Extremely risk averse, and they don't have, and I'll touch on this a little bit here, the wealth effect. They don't have 401ks that have a ton of money in them, so they're looking at the only thing left to build equity or wealth is a home, okay? New home sales are down. Yes, that's because the builders stopped building. They started building again last month. So you're going to see that number blip up. And these guys that are telling you, oh my God, new construction's cratering, therefore the market's going to crash, they're going to have to eat crow because that's not what happened. Builders stopped building because costs were too high. Now they're building again. Also, another pressure on inventory. A lot of counties, because of the explosive growth, have shut down issuing new permits for property for new construction. Right? So now you've got even less available because you can't build new. So these guys pointing to the new home sales haven't looked at the whole market. Okay? Existing home inventory, we touched on this earlier. 80% of the 65 and up year olds, right? 80% of them own a home. They're not letting go of their home because they don't have a place to go if they sell it. They can't get, now they're competing with everybody as far as the starter rate. So they're like, forget it, I'm going to stay here. So existing home inventory is going to remain low. This is going to continue to put pressure on price, and we are going to continue to see appreciation, which means we're going to see higher nets from flipping real estate, and we're going to see higher surplus funds amounts. Okay? Now, here's what nobody's talking about. Tax assessors are getting ready to raise the appraised value of property in the next 2 to 4 years. Now, that's going to result in a lot of more tax deed sales, tax foreclosures, people not paying the taxes. Because you know what? In a lot of cases, the value of the property doubled, which means the taxes are going to double, right? So these people, there are going to be a lot of people in trouble that are holding on by their fingernails. That's going to help with the inventory a little bit. That's going to help us with flipping property. It's also going to help in that the surplus funds amounts are going to continue to raise because it's still going to be bought at retail value. And these guys bought a couple of years ago, and now the tax rate's coming up. We're going to see a little mini tsunami coming here, guys, of tax. And guess what? It's not going to be just tax foreclosures. It's all going to be mortgage. Why? Because mortgages escrow the tax payment. So the mortgage payment is also going to go up for people that have mortgages. And that's going to push people off the fence. Am I happy that people are going to lose their homes? Absolutely not. Okay? But that's a natural cycle of the market. And it's going to rectify itself. Meanwhile, surplus funds are going to go up. The average amount's going to continue to go up. And you're going to be able to net even more money off of flipping property. Now, the wealth effect we talked about, I want to touch on that really quickly. It used to be we looked at that a lot. What's the Dow doing? Because if it's doing really well, people with 401ks felt more confident and they would go out and buy property. Right now, it's not like that. It's fear-based because people are seeing that the rates came up, doubled almost. They're seeing that and they're jumping off the fence just to grab it before it goes up again. The wealth effect does not affect the millennials. Thank you, millennials. As much as people talk smack about millennials, thank you. You have a very high risk tolerance. You're entering the stage of your life when you're getting married and you want the white picket fence and your wages have gone up dramatically recently, okay? And to top it off, you currently have a 37% home ownership rate, so there's a ton more of you that can buy Okay, there's we have a lot of room for the millennials to drive that, and they're bigger than the baby boomer population. So, guys, these guys saying everything's falling apart, they don't know what they're talking about. Surplusfundsriches.net. Have a great day.